Introducing the DT Systems DD700 remote training collar.
You really like this collar?
I really do. I'm sort of madly falling in love with it. So I have two systems that I use in reality. My hunting system, which for me is generally a Garmin Pro 550 Plus because I need GPS. I also have a around the house system, carry in my truck system. I try to always have a dog with me at the shop. I tend to rotate that collar out, but there's always somebody who's like, hey, can you test this for us? Or so when I switched over to this one to start messing with it, I mean, it's awesome. And it's got a lot to do with the design of the transmitter and how it feels in your hand, which is a big deal for me. I want a transmitter that is very comfortable. I don't like for it to be something that requires an enormous amount of thought as far as use. I complained to DT Systems for years because they did not have anything in the under $200 price point that I was a giant fan of. I grew up with DT Systems collars. My first e-collar was the DT Systems DD700. You know, they just weren't making anything that I was willing to use, which is the meanest thing that I can say to a manufacturer. I would like, okay, I want this, and this is what I'm looking for, and I want it to do like this, I want it to feel like this. And at a certain point, they came back with the DD700, and I'm just absolutely in love with it. It's got the right weight, it's got the right shape. Unlike a lot of handhelds, you either have to use them thumb or you have to use them fingers. This one, you can actually do both. It's actually designed and very comfortable to do both, so depending on what you prefer. So when I'm carrying it, it's like this, and the back of it's scoped out so that it fits, you know, in your hand. And it's not big, it's not a gigantic, you know, size-wise, it fits, you know, very well. You've got 3 buttons on the front, and the buttons are very comfortable and they're responsive. And when I press one, I can tell. And it's also got something that we don't ever see anymore. It's a toggle switch to go from dog 1 to dog 2 to dog 3. Set up on it again, it's 1, 2, and 3, you know, and I can do it without having to look at it. I can stem, I can change, I can stem, I can change. Got the dial here on the front where I can, you know, I can change it with this finger, or I can flip it over and I can change it this way, or I can do it two-handed. It's like versatility in a very friendly, very comfortable, short-range system. And I say short range, it's 700 yards. You know, that's under half a mile, and that's what I typically classify as short range. But for an obedience collar, for a hunting collar, for dogs that are what I would classify as close working, you know, it's going to be great for that. It's good size, it's good weight, you know, it feels solid. That's important. Sometimes in these lower price systems, we get these transmitters that I consider to be rinky-dink, and they're too light, which is kind of weird, you know, but you want a certain amount of heft to it. I don't want it to be heavy, but I want it to feel solid. And so you've got that. And then it's got a couple of cool features also that is really neat. It's got continuous stem, 10 levels on the dial. It's got momentary, or NIC as they refer to it. But then you also have a jump feature. Once you're working with your dog and you figure out their levels, like on this, Cowboy's working on a 3. But in a high distraction, you know, 3 is probably not going to get what I need. So what you can do is you can go in and very easily program a jump in it. And so I've gone in and I've programmed it so that, you know, when I hit continuous, that is whatever's on the dial. So right now I'm on a 3, so I'm on a 3, that's easy. But by pressing the middle button and the lower button at the same time, I'm now jumping to a 7. Didn't have to change the dial. So it's just a boop, and I'm on a 7. So if you need to step that up a little bit. So I'm gonna use a jump in a couple of different situations. In say a hunting setup, I'm gonna want something where if it's just strictly a, hey, pay attention to me, I'm gonna want a low level where I can tap. But if say a chase comes up, you know, I want to be able to immediately jump to it. Say we get into a dangerous situation where he's approaching a road, something like that, I want to be able to have some sort of jump. You can either have it be a marginal increase, say you work on a 3, you can jump to a 5. You know, that's going to be a dog that just needs a little bit more in this situation, and so you don't want to necessarily have to change the dial, you just want to, you know, just bump a little bit. That's cool. Or if you have a dog that, you know, you work at, say, a 3 and you want to jump to a 7 or an 8 or 9, even a 10, you know, you can go ahead and program that in, and now you've got that, you know, I hate to say hot button, but that's kind of what it is, where you don't have to do anything, you just double, and it, you know, and it gives you that stem level really quick. It's also programmable, so you can go in and change it anytime that you want to. Just kind of a neat, you know, feature, especially from a one-handed operation standpoint, where I don't have to do anything. You know, I stem, I jump. You know, I love that. The other thing that's really cool is that it is a your bottom button here by itself is tone. Tone at the collar is something that you can use a couple of different ways. I primarily use it as a recall command for my dogs because it's a look at me, either come back to me or look at me, we're changing directions. And so I just use that. That way in the field especially, I don't have to don't have to blow a whistle. It allows me to run much quieter by teaching my dogs that. But if you don't like tone, you can actually change it to vibration. And so to do that, you hold down and then you release. So I was holding the top button and the bottom button. Now, can you can't hear that, but it's vibration. So I have changed it to vibration. So it's an either or on the tone or vibration. The way you make the change, you can actually do it on the transmitter while the collar's active and on the dog. So if you wanted to use both, you know, the way you do the change, that you hold the in button and the vibration tone button at the same time, and then if you watch the transmitter, it blinks, and when it changes to the green, now we're back to tone. So technically, you could change it while it's on the dog. I don't know if you do that, but it's a neat system. We have not seen a collar at this price point in a long time, and it has some really cool features that you would have to spend a little bit more money to get as a general rule. We generally don't see this level of a quality feature combination at this price point. It's waterproof, it's expandable to 3 dogs, it's got, you know, a really good choice of stimulation. You know, it's a 10-level collar, which has to be kind of spread out right. It's really mild on the low end, but it works its way up pretty good. The transmitter uses a 9-volt battery. My experience with handhelds that use 9-volt batteries is that you're typically going to get 6 months to a year out of that 9-volt battery, which to me is great. Now, if you just have to have rechargeable, we sell a rechargeable battery pack, and you take this off and you replace the battery pack in there. So if you want that, it is available. I would not recommend it personally. You know, I charge the collar, and the handheld is good, and there's indicator lights on it. It's going to tell you when it needs to be changed. 9-volt batteries are really good batteries. So that's about it. It's a neat system, waterproof. It's got a lot of features. It's at a really nice intro price point. You know, so if you're looking for a basic obedience, close range, 700 yards, like I said, waterfowl, upland, basic obedience, it covers a lot. And I'm kind of, like I said, I'm blown away by it, and I'm digging it, and it's going to stay in my truck for a while. You know, this is going to be my my go-to non-GPS collar I see for the near future. So really digging it. DD700, check it out, gundogsupply.com.